Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a Barbie Scream House edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party!
Monster Party!
I'm going to kill you! I'm a Monster Party girl in a
Let's see. Barbie is a type of toy, What's the connection here?
Oh, what could it be?
Oh, it's such a mystery, even though we've already labeled the name of this episode. But whatever.
But if you're just tuning in randomly, you never know.
If you're just tuning in, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James GONIS.
And hey, we're having fun, as you can hear. Boy,
Yes.
we're having a good time. And
Before
we get into our episode, I just want to say I am feeling especially fond of you guys right now.
Yeah,
Like I always like you.
Me
But
too.
right
It's
now,
just the booze.
I got the warm and fuzzies. And yes, I've put some heroin in my eye.
Oh, come
has
on.
No, not the eye.
Oh, that's the way. Oh, I just lost James. Not the eye.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry, James. Yeah, that's how I do it. But anyway, this episode is an episode that we should have done already, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've been dancing around it forever.
Yes, we
And
have.
we've poked it. We brought up certain elements of it in other episodes. But now we're finally going to just look it straight in the marble eyes or whatever the eyes of this thing are made out of.
Glass.
Glass. Oh, sure, glass. Let's just say glass. So the topic for tonight's episode is deadly dolls.
Deadly dolls.
Deadly dolls.
Deadly dolls. The dolls that are deadly. They're the
maybe-
worst kind.
Or maybe it's just like horror-related dolls.
Horror-related
spooky dolls.
Or
Scary
dolls in
dolls.
sci-fi even that could
Yes,
be deadly.
Sure,
Yes.
absolutely.
Or be involved in a deadly situation. Who knows how
right.
we're going to frame it?
I mean, who doesn't
Yeah.
like dolls?
I love dolls,
well, yeah.
personally.
We all had dolls. Little kids have dolls,
Well,
That's right.
I think you guys are dolls.
guys and dolls.
And as we know, back in the 50s, when dolls changed from let's say a baby doll to
Right.
a womanly doll, like let's say Barbie,
Right.
and boys couldn't play with dolls, so
Right.
they called them the action figure.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
wasn't
Larry,
it
let me
G.I.
ask
Joe- was
you.
it-
Yeah.
John, maybe you can answer this too. So you just said action figure, but
Yeah.
was action figure a term way back when?
No, it was created for G.I. Joe.
It was
because
created
That's what I
for
gotta say,
G.I.
yeah.
G.I.
Joe.
Joe
Really?
could not be called a boy's doll. Boys don't play with dolls.
That was kind of
Yeah.
a genius marketing. Whoever
Yeah.
thought up that at the time.
Yeah.
The other thing was if instead of action figure, it was violence manufacturer. So I don't know, something like that. So,
I like that term.
but tonight,
Hellbringer.
but tonight it's all about our dangerous dolls.
Yeah.
Our
And there are
dolls.
so many. There are the kind of dolls that you immediately think of where the doll is the villain of the piece. But
Right.
then there are other kinds of dolls, and there's voodoo, and there's like all kinds of
Yeah,
different
yeah.
permutations of a deadly doll. The first one that I think of, it goes back to our Tom Holland episode,
Yeah.
Right.
right? Child's Play.
Right.
Child's
Chucky.
Play.
Who doesn't love Chucky?
I mean, from 1988.
See, now James is showing his
Oh.
little Chucky doll.
Oh, nice.
Now, which is that a Toonie Terror?
There's a Funko Reaction tiny scale figure.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Not bad, though.
Because it's like 2.5 inches, so it goes with the other scale of the other figures. Because every other Chucky is like 5 or 6 inches, and
That's
just,
true.
You know, you got to go with the scale, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
I
you
always
know-
get the one I like, and then just go for the 1/6 to
Right,
match
right.
him up with something else.
Right.
You know what's amazing, Matt, is here you just brought up something that it's a character that was created in 1988, and the film directed beautifully by a friend of the show, guest of the show, Tom Holland.
Right.
And this really connected with people because, my God, first of all, James just showed a toy of Chucky, and here we are in 2024. Chucky is still really popular.
It's
strong.
incredible. And I mean, the fact that there were plenty of killer or deadly dolls before Child's Play in 1988, but
Sure.
Chucky was truly the first like superstar killer doll character.
Yes.
I would
Right.
say so.
And it had been a while since there was a really popular, impactful killer doll. So Chucky sort of filled a void. Finally, it's like, he stepped in and made a big splash.
Yep.
Yes, well said. Well said.
Now,
yes. And
let's
this
say
is 1988, and you've
Mhm.
got this character from 1988, and that movie is a hit, and they just do sequel after sequel after sequel, and then there are reimaginings, and then even a TV series, which is very
Yeah.
good, by the way.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay, I have not seen it.
now
the
let's
show
say
is great.
But let's say you've lived under a rock for a while and you don't know who Chucky or what Chucky is.
Well, there is a criminal named Charles Lee Ray who's on the run,
Right.
and he dabbles in the occult. So he goes into a toy store and he uses a voodoo ritual to place his soul inside of this very popular doll. And the doll's named Chucky, but the line of the toys they're called Good Guys.
Good guys,
Right.
yeah.
And they're reminiscent of My Buddy.
That's right.
Yes, exactly.
Remember My Buddy?
It was remember
My Buddy.
yeah,
My
you would
buddy
if
goes
you were a
where
little
I
kid,
go. Come
you
on,
got it.
join along.
You could help learn to do his buttons, tie
Yes.
his shoe. So
Uh-huh.
it was not only just a buddy, but it helped educate you.
Instructional.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Charles Lee Ray is able to enter this doll, and that's how he avoid because his human body is killed.
It's a
So
spirit.
his soul
spirit,
is now in this doll, and then the doll is very sought after. I would liken it to like the Cabbage Patch craze.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this mother, played by Catherine Hicks, really wants to get her son this doll, but they're low on money, and she manages to get one like off the street. And the kid gets this doll, and initially he's very happy about having this Chucky doll, but weird shit starts to happen, of course. And if you've never seen the movie, I would really recommend, especially the first one.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Because the
Like
first
Halloween.
one is genuinely scary.
Yeah.
And
It
it's
was the
before
first-
he
yeah.
became quippy.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like what happened
Exactly.
with Freddy
Freddy.
Krueger.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
And what's cool is because of Tom Holland's direction, Tom Holland used every kind of special effect at the
Yes.
time
Right.
to kind of tell that story. There was a combination of things that they used for the doll, and it's really clever.
It
Yeah,
all
it's
works
also-
really
it's also
well.
Brilliant that he's voiced by Brad Dourif, who's this
Oh,
really sort of edgy
well, yeah.
actor to begin with.
Yes,
Always does
right.
these sort of quirky roles.
Right.
But he's always kind of like this dubious character.
Right.
You couldn't pick a better actor for that voice than Brad Dourif.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and what's great too is that he is the voice of Chucky for pretty much all of it. There are a couple movies where there's one where there's like a reimagined one where I think he's voiced by Mark Hamill,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Why not?
but he comes back for the TV show.
Mhm.
Okay.
And if you,
But-
I'm telling you, if you haven't seen the show, I think you guys would like it. It's
what platform is
better
it on?
than you think.
What channel is it on? What platform?
It was made for Sci-Fi and USA.
You know, it's funny you bring up Brad Dwarf.
Not
Yeah,
Brad Dwarf.
I mean, sorry.
Although that would fit.
I'm sorry. I've started drinking already. The amazing thing about that actor is, he's doing a voiceover essentially. And
Yes.
to make your voice do all the things with your voice, it really takes a special, talented actor to make it as interesting, as intriguing, because let's face it, they could easily have gotten people that could replicate that voice, but there's something about his voice and his
Yeah.
acting ability
Yeah.
that makes it so amazing and scary and terrifying.
Yeah. Well, scary, underline scary, because
Mhm.
so many things come together. It's like lightning in a bottle with that first movie that establishes
Yeah.
Chucky. And when Brad Dourif is screaming like Chucky, it's so terrifying. And as you were saying, you could get any actor that could kind of do an evil voice.
Mhm.
But when you get someone who's a real actor, like
Yeah.
Brad Dourif has got, he's got the chops.
Yeah.
He does.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Come on. They got the guy. And he just brings this malevolence to that character that when he's speaking calmly, it's terrifying. When he's screaming at the top of his lungs, it's also terrifying. He's able to hit every flavor of,
Yeah.
He's in the Two Towers, the Lord of the Rings. He's in the Exorcist 3. I mean, and just it's his voice. We have talked about this about actors with special voices, whether it's like a Boris Karloff or Peter Lorre, and I would say he has that. He has that.
Yeah, you know the voice when you hear it.
Yeah.
Well, he was in a couple episodes of Star Trek Voyager, and they're fresh to me because I just recently watched that whole series again, and it made me think like, oh my God, how great would it have been to have Brad Dourif as a character on a Star Trek show?
Yeah, really.
On a regular basis, because he's in 2 episodes and he plays a character that is a sociopath.
Yeah.
In the future. And in the Star Trek universe, most of the human problems have been kind of taken care of. Everybody's all groovy with each other, except for Brad Dourif, who apparently has some issues.
Well, it also enlists the trope of, like Christine, how do you kill something that can't possibly be alive? And like Terminator, the thing just you can't kill the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And I got to admit, I haven't seen most of the sequels, and I know that he found a bride was
that's great.
Fun.
Another great voice actor, by the way.
Yeah,
Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah, Jennifer Tilly.
Are those movies fun?
Yeah.
They're much more fun.
They're over the top. They're more comic.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're like the later Nightmare on Elm Street films in a way, but not to take away from that. I mean, they're fun, but
they are still fun.
Yeah.
Jennifer Tilly does a great job, and them doing their double act is just fun to watch.
Yeah,
and then they later get a kid.
Oh my God!
And that's great.
Seed of Chucky.
My daughter. Just to tell you, Jim, my daughter watched that. There's a sequence where there's this birth. And my daughter was absolutely horrified. What the hell is this? But she still loved it. And then, of course, afterwards, she goes, Daddy, I want a Bride of Chucky doll. So
I hear he's coming back.
Well, the funny thing is my daughter does have, if you check out our Patreon stuff, my daughter does a thing of her set of spooky dolls.
That's right.
And she does have a Chucky and a Bride of Chucky Living Dead doll that she absolutely loves. Yeah.
Does she have Gentle Glenn, the son?
She does not have that because they haven't made a Living Dead doll of him yet, as far as I know.
Okay. Yeah. But those films are a legacy of scares and fun.
Yeah, we had to start with that one, really, because that's like the Citizen Kane of evil doll movies.
It's a franchise, really. Yeah, totally.
One of my favorites, and for many reasons, and maybe not as famous, but still pretty popular amongst people in the who love the genre like we do, and that's from the Twilight Zone episode, Living Doll.
Right. Sure.
If you are a Twilight Zone fan, I'm sure you know this. If you're not, you have to check this out. Living Doll. This is directed by Richard Serafin. It's such a great episode with great actors. Telly Savalas, who plays this kind of an angry, bitter stepdad, who can't produce kids on his own. But so he marries this woman who already has a daughter, and he's irritated and angry. And
Telly Savalas.
I mean, he is so awesome.
He is with hair, by the way,
good.
still.
Yeah. And the thing is that anger that he expresses, I've seen that anger. Okay. I know that anger. So the little girl, the mom gets her this little doll called Talkie Tina. Very similar to, let's say, a Chatty Cathy of the time. This is like a late 50s, early 60s doll that was made by Mattel. And so you pull a string and it talks. Okay. Well, he doesn't like this thing, and he's irritated that it costs money. And for some reason, he thinks that the doll actually speaks to him or says some things warning him about you better be nice. And
well, it's not for some reason. The reason is it's speaking to him.
Yeah. But you know what's weird is you're not really sure. Is it in his mind or is it the actual doll?
Right.
And the funny thing is people say about this episode that, oh, well, the doll runs around. No. If you watch the episode, the doll is still. You don't see it walking. So this how it gets from point A to point B, you just don't know. Is it in his mind? Is he doing it himself? You don't know. But there's this moment where he's so angry, he hates this doll that he doesn't want to start to happen, and he takes it and he throws it in the trash. But the doll appears again. And he gets angry, and the doll and he have this conversation. Is it in his mind? Is it really happening?
Because it's only talking to him.
It's only talking to him. The voice of the doll was done by famed voiceover artist June Foray. June Foray did a ton of female and kid roles for voices. And guys, she actually did the voice of Mattel's Chatty Cathy.
Oh, that's great.
So it's weird. It's weird that she does Chatty Cathy and at the same time does this terrifying doll. And then, of course, spoilers here. If you haven't seen it, I say you go see this. But, he hates this thing. The doll actually says, I'm going to kill you in this really cute little voice. And it's actually very terrifying. But, of course, he's a grown man. How can you possibly do it? And so I don't want to, give the ending away because I want people to see it. But it's just fantastic. And what's so awesome is Entertainment Earth, the toy company, they created a life-size Talkie Tina doll. Now, they did it a number of years ago, and then they sold out. They were going for a lot of money on eBay. They have reissued them. So you can
black and white version.
Yeah. And it's cool because it does 7 of the phrases, including the famous one.
That's great.
I'm Talkie Tina, and I'm going to kill you.
You know what? They should come with a play set. Because it should come with a vice that you could put its head in. It should come with a blowtorch that keeps turning off every time.
Trash can to dump it in.
Trash can.
I mean, you bring
a set of stairs to trip over.
I left some things about how the guy tries to destroy the doll. But what's cool is Entertainment Earth and I think Biff Bang Pow, they came up with various size figures. There's a little tiny one, there's a medium sized one, there's a large size one. My daughter has all of them. Okay. And it's hard to say which one is her favorite. But it's so funny, and people ask, "What is that doll?" And then when she explains it to her friends, then they get all creeped out.
And does the doll say to her, "You better not pick a favorite"?
No, but what was really cool a number of years ago, my daughter and I went to this art show for animation art, and June Foray was there.
Wow.
And Kathy happened to bring her Talkie Tina doll.
Nice.
And it was so great to actually meet June Foray, and I got a great photo of them, and June Foray signed my daughter's June Foray doll. So
that's awesome.
That's pretty special. But I would say, guys, that as far as TV goes, that's one of the first terrifying dolls.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe the first. And I was kind of wondering if it was maybe the first ever child's doll that was, horrific. But then also apropos to Twilight Zone and Rod Serling, in the first season of Night Gallery, there was an adaptation of an Algernon Blackwood short story.
One of my favorite writers
of
all time.
Called The Doll.
Yeah.
Where this British colonial, retired colonel, played by an actor named John Williams, who was responsible for the execution of an Indian back in the British colonial days, gets a gift to his home of this really, really creepy porcelain doll, and he doesn't receive it. It's mistaken as a gift for his niece. And she develops this bond with this doll, but the doll is really meant for him to essentially kill him.
It's an instrument of revenge.
It's a little assassin.
And the brother of the man that he executed was played by Henry Silva in a turban, and he shows up.
He's awesome.
And The thing about, I mean, I remember I was 7 when this thing was shown, and I was just, what makes it so effective is that the little girl is so attached to this doll, and the Colonel is so horrified by it, but he can't get away from her, and he can't destroy it.
And the doll is so horrific looking. It's so scary.
It's so horrific, but they even explain kind of within the narrative why the little girl would take to this doll, because she is sheltered. She doesn't have any friends.
Right.
She doesn't really have any toys.
No.
Yeah.
And, they're on a budget. And so, she's stuck in this place where she has nothing. And then here comes this doll. And when you see this thing, it is like staring in the eyes of Satan.
It's the stuff of nightmares.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
I want
and
that
it's
action.
dirty, it's just it's cracked, and it's just
black around the eyes, and just where's that life-size prop?
And of course, as a kid, I'm like, God, I want that doll.
I know, me too. It's so good. I know.
And of course, it's got this great twist ending where it comes back around. But it's awesome, and it's a genuinely creepy, horrifying, and very memorable first season Night Gallery.
And also the way it's supposed to kill, its teeth, it has poison in its teeth, so it's gonna bite you. That's also so just
People might go, well, it doesn't make sense for her to love an ugly doll. On the contrary, it's like sometimes it's like what you were saying, Matt. You can identify, like, if you don't feel good about yourself, or you feel sorry for a little doll that's, it's like the misfit toys from
Yes.
That's how I felt when I
saw
they
deadly dolls?
No, well, there is
Somebody
a doll.
could do a horror version of that.
There is a doll, and that we don't know what her thing is.
What she does in her time off.
But still, my point is yes, people do identify or hook onto something that may be considered ugly or a misfit somehow.
Right.
And she's forgotten. The doll is forgotten. It's all these things.
One of the most horrific things about that episode is that he buys her another doll. And it's a cute doll. But the evil doll kills the new doll.
But I love that. But what makes that work is that you don't see that on camera.
Right.
You just see the aftermath. It's like, what happened to your doll?
My other doll hated her. Say, and now it's garbage.
James, can we, if for listeners, where can they see that? Do you know?
Well, Night Gallery's now been released on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's on Blu-ray now.
Blu-ray.
I mean,
it's gotta be some clip or something on YouTube, or
for sure.
That's a good one, James.
It's so good.
One of my favorites. Really, one of my favorite Night Gallery episodes of all.
Absolutely. But if we're talking about dolls that you have a character who thinks the doll is only talking to them, you have to go back to the classic anthology film from 1945, Dead of Night.
Oh, God.
The ventriloquist segment with Michael Redgrave. Michael Redgrave is a ventriloquist. He has a ventriloquist doll, Hugo. And basically, Hugo's talking to him, and Hugo's saying, I'm going to go off with this American ventriloquist and leave you hanging in the dirt, And he gets arguing with him, and Michael Redgrave's character just starts going off the deep end. And it's great because, it's Michael Redgrave, and you see this relationship with this doll, and is it all in his head? Is this doll really talking?
And he's doing actually pretty good ventriloquism in the movie. It doesn't look dubbed or anything.
Yes, I know. It comes to a point where in the framing device in the film, you then have a character who's imagining these later scenes with all the stories you've seen, and you see a very memorable, creepy moment with Hugo and Michael Redgrave that I don't want to give away because it's kind of brief and simple, but it's so effective because up to that point, I don't think you've seen the doll move too much at all.
No.
But then something happens in this kind of hallucinatory segment that's really great, and it's great. That also is going to be one of the first ventriloquists going crazy with his dummy scenes, right?
There is a 1929 movie called The Great Gabbo.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
And that's with Erich von Stroheim. It's based on a Ben Hecht short story called The Rival Dummy. But it's the plot device is really kind of the same as most of these things that have the ventriloquist. Is there's like this ventriloquist Gabbo, who's von Stroheim. His dummy's name is Otto, and Gabbo's got a girlfriend / assistant who really cares for him, but he's always a dick to her. except when talking to her as Otto. Well, she ends up leaving him, and there are a whole series of events that leads to a pretty tragic ending. Anyway,
Right.
it's strange because it's also a musical.
Right.
But back then, in the 1929, I think then they kind of felt like you had to put music in everything because
Yeah.
it's all sound.
Right.
Well,
Gotta have some songs.
But I want to get back to Sean. So for The Dead of Night, I think for you mentioned it's an anthology. People need to understand that it's a really neat way how that movie starts.
Yes, it's great.
And how this guy comes to this like a
gathering.
Hotel, Sean.
It's like a gathering. Yeah, like a
and this
bed and
guy
breakfast or something. Yeah.
Says, "I've had a dream about you and kind of a thing," and they kind of tell this story, and each one of these builds. And the funny thing about this film, it's a film that I didn't see when I was a kid. I saw this, in my 40s or something. I didn't know about it because it's a British made film, right, Sean?
Yes, it's classic.
Yeah. It's well known, but not well known to the general public exactly. So sometimes it's hard to see, like on Turner Classic Movies or something. Like that.
Yeah, it's one of the first horror anthology theatrical films, really.
But it's really worth searching out because as they build, I believe this sequence that you're talking about, Sean, it's the last one.
Yeah, it is. Yes,
and
it's really kind of the best one.
But it's like it's like a soft build, and when you get to that, because I think the movie is great.
Yeah,
it has a beautiful poster, and I do know that this was Forey Ackerman's favorite horror film.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah, and I believe that's when I it was the second time I saw it in LA. This is when he was still alive.
Oh, nice.
And they had a giant screening at the Egyptian Theater. And I went there, and the place was packed, and it was like, it was just so great to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, and they've Twilight Zone. They've done a couple Twilight Zone episodes where they revisited the ventriloquist thing. I also want to point out a movie I really enjoy, another British film from 1964 called Devil Doll. With Bryant Halliday of Projected Man fame as the Great Varelli, and he's also got a doll named Hugo, and that one is like he had an assistant who was killed in an act, but he transferred his assistant's like spirit and essence into the doll. So that his assistant is trapped in this doll body, and they're always fighting. He's trying to get out, and it's great though. It's kind of sleazy and weird, and it's also really fun.
Well, that gets labeled as a schlocky movie, and I really don't think it is.
No, it's good.
Time has been really good to that movie.
Yeah, it's a great film.
You can also see like Piccadilly Square in 1964, and also London before it got swinging, and yes, Yvonne Romaine from Person of Werewolf, absolutely gorgeous,
beautiful.
Yeah, and
it's great.
And that dummy is genuinely creepy. I mean,
the voice for it is good. It's such a contentious relationship between the Varelli and Hugo in that. It's really good. And it unfolds how you find out what happened. It works really well.
And then at first, you go along the movie thinking that Hugo is really malevolent, and then you realize towards the end, completely opposite.
Yeah. Well,
that's a good one.
If we're gonna go down this Hugo theme, there's the doll Hugo that you could buy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Right. That's
the Master
right.
of Disguise.
This is the 1970s.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did you guys have that as kids?
I did.
I always wanted it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I wish I still had it, but
he had like a little. He had a beard, a mustache.
He had a beard. He had fangs.
So it was like a little bald man doll.
Yes.
Right,
Matt?
Kind
of like a Mr. Potato Head meets a ventriloquist doll.
Imagine like the bald guy that Benny Hill would always slap on the head. Like having a doll of him, and then you could add pieces to him. Sort of a la Mr. Potato Head, but more realistic.
Yeah.
I love that thing, though. Yeah.
Larry, you're talking about old actual doll toys from the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
But like anytime a company back then would try to give a doll human characteristics, it kind of became creepy. But wasn't there a baby that cried all the time and a baby that wet itself? But there's something.
Well, if we're going to get into that, then there's there was one that got diaper rash, literally, which is so strange that
it's so weird.
I need to see welts on my baby's
and my
ass.
toy. Yeah, it's so bizarre.
Oh, and my sister had a baby doll that blinked, and that scared me, honestly.
That's scary. Most of them blinked, right?
if we're going to take a moment to talk about some creepy dolls that were made that didn't really work, okay?
Right.
There was a doll made in 1965 called Baby Laugh a Lot.
That's
And
it. Yeah.
on the surface, it's I can see them in the pitch session. All right, it's this little doll. We put a smile on it. It's like it's laughing, and you press the button and it laughs all the time. Kids will love it. Well, the problem with it is the laugh, it's like almost like a little evil child laugh.
Yeah, yeah.
And the funny thing is, so how do you make this work? Well, you have to put batteries in it. Now, what happens when you use the batteries? The voice starts to slow down. So then your doll is going, this little child doll is going,
that's awesome.
And it made it frightening. Now, the funny thing is, the doll was not considered a success, okay? In fact, even the face of the doll, it kind of has its eyes squinting. It's got the kind of laughing face, not your standard looking baby doll.
Yeah,
and it was like a baby doll, like maybe like a toddler.
Right.
The funny thing is, that doll now is worth a lot of money because like all these things from the 60s, you know, it's a tape. There's a tape inside, right? Or there's a little record. And so the thing is, over a period of time, but due to heat or its environment, the tape will kind of get warped, or the batteries have exploded, and so to find one in good working order is really, really hard. You can pretty much find some that look good, but the sound is the key.
On that same theme, here's a doll that I have in my possession now. I bought it years ago because of just the curiosity value of it. It's a 1985 PTL Club doll called Susie Moppet. And PTL, praise the Lord, the Jim Baker show.
Oh, my.
Really?
Jim and Tammy. And they marketed this doll. And it's got yarn hair, blonde yarn hair, and a red dress, and this hideous face, puffy cheeks. And there's a record inside it. And when you press the button, it says like, I love Jesus, or,
really,
isn't God great? Or, I
Jim's
forget all the things that it says. Yeah. He likes hookers. And but it was this little record, and then you could flip the record over, and there was even some more things that it said, but it was all like Christian related. And I still have this thing because I'm fascinated by it.
Wait, I was waiting for the other side of this coin. So you got it because it says all these things about I love Jesus and that kind of thing. And it doesn't say, beware of the devil or something like that.
No, it doesn't go that far. I was hoping that if you flip the record over, it would say, get me out of here. They're frauds.
That's hilarious.
Wow. If you check out our Patreon section and you go to the thing that I did about spooky dolls, I too have a bunch of dolls, and one of which that I have is from the Madame Alexander line, and this is actually from come on, from the 2000s. It's a beautiful Janet Leigh doll from Psycho, and it came with a beautiful porcelain tub and a shower curtain, and it says Psycho on it. And you have to admit. No, see, you have to admit, folks, if you're listening to this, someone made a Psycho doll. I mean, an actual doll and a tub. And what she has like a bathrobe around, not a bathrobe, it's like a towel. And it says, it says Bates Motel on it. And so you can
that towel didn't last on her too long, huh, Larry?
No,
that thing home.
Her towel is still wrapped firmly, and her little hair is in perfect shape, and the tub is really it's beautiful. I just think it's just so amazing. The tub a little.
And doesn't the shower curtain have a silhouette of Mrs. Bates about to step
does. It has a silhouette of
Mrs.
Bates, and I think what's so cool is, I mean, if you're going to ask me, so was it a success? Well, it was part of their Hitchcock series. They did that. They also did
Marnie.
Didn't they do a Trouble with Harry doll, like laying on the
Madam
ground?
Alexander, Sean Connery rips
guys,
the
come on.
clothes off her.
They did a beautiful Tippi Hedren from the Birds. James, you love the Birds. Yeah, so they have her in her beautiful green outfit, and it has like birds attacking her. But the funny thing is, they didn't make a lot of them because they knew that these are not going to be mass produced.
Yes, like
where you're gonna put them in every
specialized.
toy. Yes, exactly. So people like older men like me buy them.
Right.
Have them in their case.
I will give you this, Larry. I think that of all the Madam Alexander dolls, which I'm not a big fan of, but that one in particular, I love that one because it's so odd. So you have this little, it's in a bathtub. It's got a towel around it. It's got the face of a baby.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's just bizarre.
Yeah. So weird.
I think that's what makes it extra beautiful.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, it's anything that's horror related, sci-fi related, or if it's Halloween related, and you put in a doll. I mean, I get all excited, and like, believe it or not, guys, as far as like scary dolls or horror dolls, there were some Barbie Halloween dolls. There was a beautiful Halloween enchanted witch Barbie, and so the thing that I think is really cool is here in this day and age, even Barbie, they've made her into like a Halloween witch. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, and then there's how about the Munsters, the Wolfman doll,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or Wednesday Addams, Marie Antoinette with the head.
That's a great,
horror has been represented in cute ways when it comes to dolls. And especially now, as you were talking about with Kathy's Living Dead dolls, they really did it right, where it's all these little baby face dolls portrayed in the most horrific ways. And I really love those. I think those are great.
Her collection, Matt, is absolutely amazing. But it's funny, she and I, we've talked about this. She and I are very similar when we're looking at the horror doll, the Living Dead dolls that we really like. She has a bunch of just beautiful looking dolls. One of my favorites is this one that's like a vampire doll, and she has this beautiful purple satin outfit. Her hair is perfectly curled and big, like Kirsten from Interview with a Vampire. Remember?
Kirsten Dunst.
Remember Kirsten Dunst when she was the little girl and she had that big curly hair?
Right.
Living Dead dolls made one very similar to that, but the cool thing is the eyes are like this reddish looking thing, and she still has that cute face, but you see fangs and she's got blood like dripping out of her mouth.
That's cool. I like
it's just such a cool looking doll.
Didn't they do a Damien?
Actually, they made a doll. I'm not sure he was called Damien.
Oh, okay.
But a Damien-like, because she has that one too. Because
I like that one.
My daughter loved The Omen, and of course I said, and that doll looks, if you think about it, if you look at the little kid at the end of The Omen, it's that little cherub face with that little hat.
It's just got a white face, though, right? Isn't it like?
No. It
has a flesh-colored face.
It is a flesh-colored.
Oh, really?
Face.
Okay.
But like the evil eyes, but it's inside the same little outfit with that little hat,
right? With the little hat.
And we call it Damien. I'm not sure. If
you have to. But so where in the Deadly Dolls does this doll fit in? Ideal's Archie Bunker's grandson, Joey Stivic.
Oh,
anatomically correct.
The first anatomically correct doll.
Yes, I think that's horror because I think it horrified the people that saw it on the shelf.
What's interesting, if you guys think about it, for listeners who aren't familiar, Archie Bunker, so a very popular TV show back in the late 60s and 70s, All in the Family. And so Archie Bunker's daughter and son-in-law, they have a baby, and this is a big, big deal. So a toy company came out with the baby doll of this family.
Joey Stivic.
And it had a little wiener.
It had a little wiener. Yeah.
But that was the marketing involved in that, because All in the Family was never a kid's show.
No.
Yeah.
That's what's always fascinated me about that, which is like, who is
of all the things.
If on one hand you can understand the fervor, on the same time, it's like, if you want your kid, it's going to be your daughter, I imagine, to get this baby doll.
Makes sense.
What does your baby brother look like? I mean, it seems a perfectly natural way to go. But this was a huge controversy back in the day.
And they didn't sell well, did they?
No, and I think
yeah.
I think Baby was pulled from the shelves.
Wow, that's so weird. It's such a weird marketing phenomenon.
I mean, every single, first of all, a character from All in the Family.
Yeah.
The Norman Lear line of toys.
Yeah, really.
Sean, the world of toy manufacturing and toy creation is such a cutthroat world, and people don't really realize it. No, I'm just saying, you may go to the store like your Target. Oh, what Star Wars figures?
Yeah.
What, but it's like that world where these companies are trying to compete for. There aren't as many kids anymore. Kids aren't playing with toys as much anymore.
Yeah.
Plastic is more expensive. The cost to ship it from China, it's more expensive. Toy companies are going through a really difficult time right now. In fact, you guys may have heard Hasbro, who holds the license for Star Wars figures, they just had a series of layoffs. The toy industry is having a really difficult time. So, John, they're trying to think of anything. What is the next big toy? What is the next big Cabbage Patch or Star Wars toy to come out that's going to make kids want to go and get that thing? It's tough.
It's true.
I think maybe the Jar Jar Binks Star Wars Black series is what sunk Hasbro, because there's a lot of those for like $3 at
they keep trying.
Well, part of the problem with the Star Wars releases is there's so many different scales, and they're not inexpensive. These things are like $20-$30.
Yeah, there's so much. It's kind of
peripheral characters. It's like, I don't want this. It's like, come on.
It's kind of insane. I can see why people. I mean, Also, the toy market now is going so much towards adult collectors and less.
Oh my God.
Kids. So
Big
it's
time,
like so it's like adults are buying probably more action figures than kids nowadays
because they have money.
Sean, it's funny you should say that. Are you guys familiar now? If you go to Target, there's a special section now that they have. It's for the collectors there.
That's right.
So every time I go to Target to get my whatever, things that I need to get, it's like, I'll always just go by there. What's there? And I'm one of those guys that if I go there and I see other guys my age standing there, I don't want to go over there and go, I'll go,
hey, buddy.
I'll come back. But it's like,
I was thinking of bringing like Monster Party flyers and leaving them in that area.
That's a good idea.
The funny thing is that section is made. You're right, Sean. It's for adults. Adults are the ones that have the money.
Yeah.
And actually, up on those pegs, I've seen like creepy horror figures too.
Right.
There's the good stuff, the NECA stuff, but but I understand what you're talking about, Larry, because it's kind of like when you go into the adult bookstore. When I'm in the porno shop,
I don't know what you're talking about.
When I'm in the porno shop, I don't want to talk to anybody, right? I want to just get my Swedish erotica and then go, right?
Right.
But I want to pick out the right one in my own time. I don't want anyone chiming in.
True.
But I remember going to Target once, and I might have brought this up at our Indiana Jones episode, but they had just released these Indiana Jones figures that were 1/6 scale, and they talked, and they had like little action things that they did, and they were cool. And the one that talked had a little rubber mouth that would move up and down. I love shit like that. But were the likenesses perfect? No. Okay. They were good enough, but they weren't perfect. So I'm looking at this thing, and this guy comes up right next to me, and he's like looking over my shoulder, and he goes, like almost at the top of his lungs, he goes, "They never get the likenesses right."
Wasn't that Larry?
and I almost like jump out of my skin and turn around at this, like, could you go away? What the fuck? There's an unspoken rule here. We don't talk to each other.
Thinking back, I think I've always been like this. When I go to the store or when I was the toy store or whatever, and I'm looking for something, I don't want people to know what I'm looking for.
Right.
Because,
just in case.
Because that bastard is going to pick the figure that I need.
Right. I can see that.
And so it's like,
oh, you're the guy that hides the figures in the blankets. That's right.
Oh my God. I did that all the time, Matt. Matt, I can't tell you how many times my younger brother and I, we'd hide figures all over the store, and then you have to remember where I hid it under behind the towels. I hid it behind the.
But you know what? See, now since I heard that, what I do now when I go to Target and they're all out of a figure that I want, I'm like, check the towel section. Go into automotive.
Well,
go under
see, here's
the
Right,
tire
right.
cleaner.
here's the
Going to
stupid
the
thing.
clearance decor section.
You know, I'm an adult man now.
Lingerie.
I'm an adult man now. I don't have to go and hide things behind the
Sure.
towels or the blankets anymore. You know, you could just, Larry, just put it on the credit card. But see, I feel weird if people see me going for that Godzilla figure from NECA and I pick it up and it's like, oh man, if I put it down, because I got to go get toilet paper or something, the guy's going to come and get it. I get really weird about that. I don't like to see people watching me at the store picking through the toys.
I don't want people watching me at all. For whatever reason.
Yeah,
I just don't want anyone in my
mean,
business at Target. I just
Right.
go away.
Look, I don't want to get off topic, but it kind of goes into the,
it goes with
toy
dolls.
It
Yeah,
does. Yeah. Hey, guys, there's a movie that I have not seen. And when I was doing some research here, I came upon this movie. And it's funny that I haven't seen it because I am a big Danny Kaye fan.
Mhm.
And there is a movie, I don't know how this fell through the cracks, but maybe you guys know it. So there's a comedy, 1954, with Danny Kaye, and it's called Knock on Wood.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the wacky comedy version of Magic.
Really?
And it's just like Jerry Morgan is Danny Kaye, is a ventriloquist who is having trouble with love. Just when his relationship with a woman gets around to marriage, his dummy turns jealous and spoils everything.
Huh. I've not seen this.
Of course, there's some Danny Kaye antics that come in, and there's songs and all the things that you would love, and music by Sylvia Fine. And but I've never seen this movie. Have you?
I have to check it out. No, I have not.
James, do you know this one?
I know of it. I've never seen it, but it looked just like you look at the poster, you look at the title, Danny Kaye. Oh, it's perfect. Knock on wood. Get it?
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's better than Magic.
Magic had so much hype, and
I know
it's selling book, and
I know, and it's I watched that fairly recently, within the last year, and it's funny because I've not read the book. I know it was based.
I actually did read the book.
Was the book better than the film?
I think Goldman wrote the screenplay, so it was very faithful.
Right. The thing is, though, but a big mistake they make in that movie is it starts out, you see Anthony Hopkins' character Corky, and he's failing. He's pathetic as a magician, as a stage magician. And so somebody comes and they suggest him, why don't you get into something else? Try ventriloquism. And then it jumps ahead years and years later. So now he's got Fats, his Hugo, ventriloquist doll, and he's already got the weird kind of psychological twisted relationship with Fats that we never saw develop. It's just strange.
That's
like you're
that's
skipping.
a good point. Yeah.
I don't know why they did that. Like, I want to see. That's what I wanted to see. So then it's well acted, and Anthony Hopkins is great, and there's some great individual bits, but it never really quite goes anywhere. The best part of that movie best scene to me is Burgess Meredith plays his really powerful agent manager, and he's ready to get Corky into big time. He's gonna give him his own TV show. But Corky's all freaking out, and he's self-conscious, and he shies away from appearing and doing these.
He has to take a psychological test.
Yeah. So what Burgess Meredith knows, something's up. What's going on?
No, you don't.
And he goes. So Corky and the doll's with them, Fats, and his manager goes, "Okay, listen, I'm gonna get your career going, but you gotta do me one favor. I want you to make Fats shut up for 5 minutes."
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's for 5 minutes we watch Anthony Hopkins trying not to speak through
it's a
Fats.
great
and it's
scene.
Great.
That's a great scene.
It's the best scene in the movie. And then think he of course he can't do it. But it's a movie that had a lot of potential, but it just kind of sits there. It's not. And the best thing about the movie is the trailer and that tagline, which is not
From
in the movie.
1978.
Yeah.
Shall we all do it together?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, Matt.
Somebody do it.
Abracadabra, I sit on his knee.
Presto changeo, now he is me.
Hocus pocus, we take her to bed.
Magic is fun. You're dead.
Yeah, that's literally the best thing about the movie.
I remember seeing that many times. That ad.
The Jerry Goldsmith score is kind of cool too.
I taught my daughter that phrase, and when we had gone over to our friend's house, Wally Winger, for a screening, and he has a version of Fats in
Really?
Oh, really? Wow. Oh, that's cool.
That's
It's
cool.
they're
No,
they're
yeah.
it's such a great looking ventriloquist
It
puppet.
is. It's really, and
It's
Anthony
creepy,
Hopkins did his
Sean.
voice too, and it's
Yeah.
James just produced a
I have a little figurine
a
that
little
Oh,
figurine that he
nice,
has of it.
nice.
We'll put that up online too. But
Cool.
Sean, you were talking about how you don't get the build up.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that for me, when watching the film, when you get to him and Fats, he's already nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And so that is the interesting part of seeing him gradually get sucked into this psychosis.
Right.
And to have him just already be sweating and weird, it seems like a missed opportunity.
like Dead of Night and even Devil Doll will spoil you for a movie like this, because whether or not the dummy's actually alive and possessed, or whether or not you're not sure if it's a psychosis or not,
Right.
here it's just a psychosis. So okay,
Yeah.
it's just not that interesting. It's been done before better.
Yes, yes. Plus, it's funny because I just don't buy that the erratic, sweaty Anthony Hopkins character is going to have a romance with the ravishing Anne Margaret too. It doesn't work.
No, she's mine.
And you know what's weird about this, Sean, is it was directed by Richard Attenborough.
Yeah.
This is the same guy who did this massive film called A Bridge Too Far.
Oh, and so many great movies. Yeah.
And then after Magic, he went and did Gandhi, the Academy Award-winning film that he got Best Director for. And it's weird. These films are so big. I agree with you, Sean. There's that issue. I wish I'd like to see more of a development with his character instead of just bang, there he is.
Right.
That sequence that you talked about is like one of my favorite sequences because it's very powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. It has great individual moments, but as a whole does not hold up too well.
Well, it reminds me of another 1978 movie scored by Jerry Goldsmith, which was The Swarm, where Henry Fonda has the scene where he's trying to inject an antidote to the bee venom, and you're watching him in real time, like he's sweating it out and he's still dying. And the only takeaway I had from that movie is Henry Fonda sweating for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He does it well, though.
True.
Wherever there's a bee, I'll be there.
It's the Citizen Kane of bee antidote scenes.
There's a character that's in Batman the Animated Series. There's a really great episode called Read My Lips. And there's a villain who is simply called the ventriloquist, but he has this doll who is named Scarface. And he's this little gangster ventriloquist doll. And of course, the doll is the one in charge. And the doll is the villain, the one who's making all the crime decisions. And the ventriloquist is just this little meek guy with glasses, balding and unassuming. But and I think he comes up in some other episodes in the future. But I love that character. They even made a little figure of him. I think you can only get it in a 4-pack set. But there's that. And then there's also, I don't know if you guys are fans of the show Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
But Trailer Park Boys is a favorite comedy show of mine. And it's this Canadian mockumentary created and directed by Mike Clattenburg. And it follows these sort of minor criminals, Bubbles, Julian, and Ricky. And they live in this trailer park complex. And the very first episode of this show, there's gunplay. Like and they sell drugs, but it's like following their lives, and they're these fuck up criminals. And usually at the end of every episode, they wind up in jail. But there's one where Bubbles has an infected tooth and he doesn't want to go to the hospital. And the only one who can convince him is a little doll that had previously been thrown in a swamp to get rid of him, named Conky. And it's this puppet that he made when he was in the 6th grade. And the other guys don't like the doll because as soon as Conky's around, Conky starts taking over. And if you've never seen the show, just go to that episode. You'll have a good time with it because you do get scared of Conky. And there is definitely a horror movie ending to this episode.
Nice.
Well, I feel like the ventriloquist angle is something, it could almost be its own show, but I feel like
yes, that's right.
There's a movie from 1984 called Black Devil Doll from Hell.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Shot on somebody's camcorder, and it's a black ventriloquist dummy that has a life of its own, and it looks like it's modeled after Rick James. and it possesses this Christian woman who's trying to be good, but it brings out this sexual beast in her. But it also, it also violates her and ties her up. And one of my favorite movie quotes of all time, she says, "Untie me, you wooden-headed bastard." And in 2007, a filmmaker out of the Bay Area did sort of a remake called Black Devil Doll, and there's some clips from it on YouTube which are actually hysterical. If he was not African American, I would say this is one of the most racist, stereotypical black mummies I've ever seen.
Right.
But he is African American, so it's actually really funny. So
right.
Black Devil Doll on YouTube, I recommend you check that out. And also, the Twilight Zone episode Sean mentioned with Cliff Robertson, the dummy, is a really, really great episode.
It's a great episode.
Yes.
A ventriloquist and a dummy, being at odds with each other, and you're never really too sure what the genesis is of their relationship and how it ends up. And it's still sort of left hanging, but a brilliant and horrifying twist ending. And Biff Bang Pow Toys did a great figure of that dummy too. And there was
and then there's another one, right? There's another
in the fifth season when I think they were an hour long with Jackie Cooper called Caesar and Me, and they use the same dummy as the Cliff Robertson one.
Wow.
But that one was a little bit more like, yes, the dummy does have a life of his own. He is
right.
A living being in and of himself. It's not some psychological thing.
Right.
But the Cliff Robinson one is fun.
No, he's terrific in that one. Yeah. And Jackie Cooper is wonderful in Caesar and Me.
Yep.
Playing this put upon guy who's, being led by the nose by the doll.
Yeah.
Now,
there's an impressionable little girl in that one too.
Yeah, she's great.
It's funny when you ask people, "Oh, I don't like dolls." They creep me out. And like if you go to someone's house and you see a bunch of dolls in someone's room, and people go, "Oh my God!" For some reason, there's something about dolls that just can freak people out. And sometimes,
just if there are a lot of them.
Well, and it's funny because there's a TV movie that was made which has one of the greatest frightening dolls. And it's from 1975. We've talked about this before, but I'm going to bring it up again because it's just
sure.
Classic TV movie Trilogy of Terror from 1975, directed by Dan Curtis. It was made specifically for television. When I was putting together my research stuff, I found out something that I didn't know. So this is a trilogy of stories. There are these 3 stories. They were all written by Richard Matheson, and each one is titled of the name of the main character. The final one is called Amelia, where this woman who has this odd relationship with her mother, a kind of a combative relationship with her mother. And you can tell by the phone calls, she just started to date a man who was into anthropology or something. And the mom seems to be irritated by that. But she decided to get this man who she's been dating a doll or a figure from like this kind of like
a Zuni Fetish Doll.
Yeah, a Zuni Fetish Doll. When she takes it out of the box and you see it, it looks like something,
She took it out of the box.
Well, I mean, it's like something from Africa or something.
Right.
And it has a very scary face.
It's very ferocious looking.
Very ferocious.
One of the scariest, maybe the scariest doll.
And
maybe. Yeah.
I remember seeing this as a kid. And I remember the ad in the TV guide. How scary can this be? And the first 2 stories that they show are interesting.
Okay.
But nothing so frightening. When you get to this third one, it's so powerful. The main character, the woman who plays the women in all 3 of these is Karen Black. What I learned was it was offered to Karen Black. Karen Black turned it down. She wasn't going to do it at first. But then it was like her husband at the time, Robert Burton, he got cast in it. So she goes, I'll be in it now. See, and so I thought that was really interesting. There was a chance that Karen Black wouldn't be in it, but she does this great job. She does a really good job in the first 2, but in this third one, it's just so terrifying.
See, Larry, I'm sorry, I just made a connection. You saw this when you were a child, and then you thought to yourself, okay, lesson here, never take a toy out of the box.
No, the lesson was never remove its golden amulet.
That's right.
Because that's what brings it to life.
Yes. So what happens is she takes this thing out. She's explaining to her mom, I got this guy I'm dating, this thing. And it's really, you should see it. It's really interesting. As she reads this little pamphlet that comes with it, says, keep the gold It's like a little belt or a little gold amulet thing on. As she puts it down because she's angry, she's having this argument with her mom. She puts it down, the amulet comes off. And then all of a sudden, as she's trying to do whatever it is in her apartment, where the little doll isn't there, where'd it go? And it basically comes to life and attacks her. And it's so well done. There was camera stuff that was done in this TV movie that I had never seen before, and it frightened the hell out of me.
But the effects are very basic. In the way that it's almost like nothing, but the way that they put all these shots together. Because, if you took it all apart, scene by scene, frame by frame, it's just a little doll that they are moving, and they've got like a groove cut out of the floor so they can operate this thing and have it like whiz across the floor. But it all works so well. Yes. And especially for such a small production, they get so much bang for their buck. And when the amulet falls off, isn't that really just typical when it comes to action figures? Like the accessories never quite work.
No, you try to fit the gun in the hand, it doesn't really fit.
And it always falls out. It's like,
I will say this, of all the spooky toys, this is one toy that I wish I had. There were some that were made by a toy company, but it's really hard to find them. My friend Shawn Sheridan has one.
I was actually at Comic-Con too.
I have one.
Oh, you have one too?
Yes.
And I have a resin kit.
Oh, it's resin.
All
right. But the thing about it is, I mean, historically, television came out of radio, and it's very rare to see any length of time on television that has absolutely no dialogue. That sequence, after it starts, is all dialogue free, and that's like pure cinema. The impact of that is part of what makes it stand out in our minds. It's so unusual.
Yeah, it all takes place when they close. It's in her little apartment, and she's running from room to room. This thing is relentless. Also, it's quite a performance by Karen Black, because those lengthy phone calls she has with her mom and her boyfriend, it's only one-sided. We just hear her, and it's great. She sells it so well.
But you feel for her. You feel for her.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Most people, I think, forget the first two. This one,
it's the one.
It's funny,
everybody remembers this.
The piece is called Trilogy of Terror, but that's the one that everyone wants to see.
Yeah.
The first two are not bad, though. I mean,
no, they're fine. They're fine. It's just there's no way you can top that.
Yeah. And Tom Holland on our show, I think, said that was a major inspiration for when he was writing Child's Play too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was it's one of the most iconic killer dolls, period.
I've mentioned this before. Karen Black was actually gifted one of the little spooky fetish dolls, and she had it in her house for years. Someone broke into her house and stole the head.
Wow, that's great. Well, like, why just the head?
Years later,
first of all,
so I don't know if you guys recall, but she had an auction, and she was auctioning off a lot of her stuff. Look, she was a very prolific actor. She sold the body that she had, and she had a new head created, but it was not the original head.
Okay.
Wow.
But the weird thing, guys, is somewhere out there, there's some psychotic fan who has that Zuni fetish head.
That's pretty weird.
Apropos to that, two quick things. I was living in Venice back in the mid 90s, and one of my neighbors, I went to a potluck in the apartment building, and one of my neighbors was working for Dan Curtis Productions on the Trilogy of Terror sequel.
Oh yeah,
right.
About the fetish doll coming back for the sequel, I ran back to my room and I got the resin kit, and I ran back and brought it back, and she's like, "Oh my God, my neighbor actually owns this thing."
Wow.
The other thing, Stephen King wrote a story called Battleground, which was published by Cavalier, a men's magazine, in 1972.
I know it well.
And it was reprinted in the Night Shift anthology, which is an amazing anthology of classic short stories. And it's about a hitman who kills a toy company manufacturer. And then the hitman gets, in his ritzy penthouse apartment, he gets like an unmarked package, and he opens it up, and it's a bunch of toy soldiers, and the toy soldiers actually come to life, and they do everything they can to kill this hitman as revenge. And this was actually adapted for the Stephen King anthology series Nightmares and Dreamscapes in 1993, with William Hurt playing the hitman, and no dialogue.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. The entire episode, which is 45 minutes long, no dialogue, zero. And it's a throwback to Trilogy of Terror because it's actually written by Richard Matheson's son, Richard Christian Matheson.
Oh, nice.
And it's actually directed by Brian Henson, Jim Henson's son. And there's a Zuni Fetish Doll reference in it because this hitman has on his shelf a fetish doll. He has the actual fetish doll. And at some point, the toy soldiers destroy it. There's like, it's a shot.
Oh, that's funny.
You blink and you miss it, but there's a close up of the fetish doll, and then it's.
That's great.
That's nice. Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you guys know the film Dolly Dearest?
Oh, yes.
Our past guest and good friend of the show, Denise Crosby.
That's right.
And Rip Torn in this.
Yeah.
And, it's 1991, and it's not the greatest movie, but I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. It's like a female Chucky in a way.
Yeah. And, it's very similar to Child's Play in a lot of ways. There's an evil entity that escapes from a sarcophagus when an archaeologist comes upon it, and it goes into a doll.
Yeah, it's like
and a little girl gets the doll, and then the doll starts to take over the girl. But it's fun,
there's like a tomb, and like the tomb just happens to be nearby a doll
manufacturing factory.
Right. But it is fun though. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's not it's no masterpiece, but it's
like
good B movie fun.
I would say a great bunch of scary dolls I still like to this day are the weird gnashing teeth dolls in Barbarella.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that one. I love
Barbarella.
those.
She's searching for Professor Duran Duran, who's got the positronic ray, and she lands on this planet, and there's these weird group of like creepy kids, and they kind of corral her and tie her up in this little area, and they sick dolls after her, and they're all like these little kind of baby dolls with like weird purple green faces, and they kind of screech, and they have these napping teeth. Like, yeah, it's really scary. And they end up biting her at her ankles, and it's creepy. It's
I want one of those.
Weird. Yeah, where's those dolls? That was a very effective killer doll moment for me.
Of course, all the kids love the Annabelle.
Yes. Sure.
I took Kathy to see Annabelle Creation, which actually came out later. Annabelle came out in 2014, where the doll is already established as being an evil doll. But where did it come from?
It's like the origin story.
Yeah, right. So we saw Annabelle Creation, and this was directed by David F. Sandberg. And so you get the explanation as to how there's this guy, doll manufacturer. He's a happy family man, and his daughter dies after getting hit by a car. So this doll that he had started to create kind of takes on the look of the Annabelle doll, or the spirit of the little dead girl, or kind of a thing. 12 years later, in the house where he was, this nun comes with his 6 orphan girls. And one of the little girls is a crippled girl, and she encounters the doll. And what was cool was I took it just with Kat. So this is like 2017, okay? So my daughter's like a young teenager. We go see it. She got scared at certain parts, but she thought all the little girls in it, they were her age. They're like 12, 13, 14. And it just so happened that Monsterpalooza that year, all of the girls who were in the film were there. Wow. And Kathy got to meet all the girls, and these are talented young actresses, and now they've all grown up and they've become talented actors in their own right. But the coolest thing was the little girl who played the littlest girl who gets killed, B. She actually came in her outfit that she wore in the movie.
That's nice.
And not only that, she had the makeup on. Her death makeup. And so what was funny is, as she's meeting people, this little girl is, "Hi, how are you? Yeah, take a picture." And so Kathy's all thrilled. We get a picture. The little girl took the picture the same way in every picture. Her smile went away, and she had her death face on. It was a frown. And she would look dead into the camera. Everyone who got their picture with her, the kid did the exact same thing.
That's a team plair.
Yeah.
Cool.
Man, it's like I'd hire that kid. Of course, now she's a young teenager now, but very talented group. Like it's neat, it's fun.
They're horrible, but that's fine.
It's not the greatest, but it was fun.
Now, Larry, at another Monsterpalooza, you mentioned the actress who played Megan was there, and I haven't seen Megan, but what's that? That's another evil doll movie, right?
Okay,
it's like a robot AI evil doll.
It's an AI robot doll.
And I will say this, guys. I know you guys haven't seen it, right?
I have
No,
seen
I
it.
haven't.
Okay.
Oh,
I enjoyed it.
Okay, so
okay, I've
I'm
not seen it.
surprised.
Yeah, it's
See,
not. It's again. It's like B movie fun.
Well,
but
here's a couple of things. No, this is what I wanted to say about it. There's a couple of things I really, really liked about it, and I'll just share it with you. But yes, Megan came out in 2022. It was directed by Gerald Johnstone. The tagline was "Friendship has evolved." This is a PG-13 film.
Terrible.
Okay, they're trying to make it for that teenager, the teenager group. Okay, so what's neat is there's this girl whose parents get killed in an accident. So the girl has to be sent to her aunt's house. Her aunt is a creator of, let's say, interactive toys.
Right.
And what's cool about it is they make reference of a certain toy that, look, we want toys that kids are going to like get into, like these little toys that talk back and are interactive. They brought up a character that was kind of like the Furby. Do you guys remember those?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
And
right.
I don't know if you guys remember, but there was this toy, the Furby. They outlawed them in certain government places because the Furby would record things that were said around and like
Right.
repeat them back or something. Do you guys remember this?
It's like Alexa.
Vaguely,
Yeah. So there was a big, and it was like a comical on one hand. It's like, oh, you can't bring this toy to work, kind of a thing. So it kind of has that flair to it. And this woman is creating this like a life-size AI doll companion kind of thing.
And uses her daughter to beta test it. Now,
well, it's not her daughter; it's her niece.
Or her
It's
niece. Okay, excuse
because
me.
that's
Her
that's
niece.
and see, that's the issue,
And
Matt.
who is the worst guardian ever in any movie?
Look. Hey, let's just say this. Okay, this woman
It's totally
doesn't have
implausible,
kids.
but but I had some
Matt,
fun with it.
Matt, this woman doesn't have kids. She's into
Oh
her
no,
work.
it's nonsense.
You know,
It's
come on, no.
nonsense.
Oh, like if I threw
No,
my
that's
kid over
okay.
to
You think that's
you're
all
gonna
right.
Go, hey, let me
Let's
show
give
you
the
what to do here.
untested fucking Android toy to my
Right.
relative to work out the kinks.
Whatever
What kind
issues
of
it has.
monster are you?
Okay, what's cool is I think that the outfit that they make for her is awesome. The face and everything about that Megan
cool.
character, it's really neat because it comes off like a little girl. You don't realize how powerful it is. And there's a bully kid. And look,
that's
let's
fun.
face it. Who wouldn't want a mechanical buddy to come and beat up the bully, in your
Absolutely.
neighborhood?
Yeah.
And it's
My buddy never fucking backed me up in a fight. He showed me how to use a zipper.
I think, Sean, what's kind of cool is you may recall seeing the advertisement or the preview on TV where you see Megan doing this little dance. It's kind of like sexually suggestive kind of a thing. And it's really kind of cool. What's neat is the gal that they got to do that, she was actually 12 years old. She was actually this gymnast. And she was really, really skilled at doing all these things. So it was a combination of using like a little animatronic thing and an actual actor with this little latex mask. But when you get to a certain point at the end where things happen, it's like, oh, you think you're saved, and oh, it's coming back. And we've seen this kind of thing before, but I still liked it.
It's like for a younger generation.
It's B-movie nonsense, but I did have some fun with it.
And Matt, I would agree with you. I would say it was B-film nonsense, but I still liked it. And the funny thing, Sean, is it really resonated because it did well enough. They're working on a second one.
Yeah, I know. Megan 2.0. Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
So no, but I thought it was neat. Look, if Madame Alexander comes out with a Megan doll, I'm buying it. Okay.
Good Lord. Here's something that I want to figure of. We go from Megan, which is the top of movie technology and getting that type of creature to come to life and be scary. I would go back to something from 1961, a movie that Shawn Sheridan turned me on to called The Curse of the Doll People.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yes. That's a great one.
This is a
Mexican,
tiny little Mexican horror movie.
Yeah.
This story is about these 4 guys who are cursed by this voodoo priest for stealing this idol from a temple. And they are hunted by these evil doll people who are then going to kill their family members.
Right.
And these dolls are really just, I guess they're just little people.
I think like little people in very creepy
costumes.
immobile masks. Yeah, they're just like,
But but
great,
somehow
though.
it just works.
Yeah, you're right. It does.
And sometimes maybe that's all you need. And
Yeah,
that's what,
yeah.
when we were talking about Child's Play and how Tom Holland used all these different methods to achieve the effects of Chucky. So some of them were, a little person in a costume, and another one was an animatronic, and all of that coming together and that kind of ingenuity. And I wouldn't put Curse of the Doll people on that level, but just for this little tiny movie, there are some very creepy. And I think one of the things I always love about Mexican horror is that they usually really nail atmosphere.
Yes, black and white, low budget, but it works in its favor.
Yes. And so when you have that and then you introduce these creepy doll men, it's fabulous. Yeah. So if you've never seen that one, I think it might be a little hard to get these days.
I think a Blu-ray company released some of those, like with the Brainiac and some of those others, but it is kind of hard to get, actually, I think now. Yeah, but it's great. We can't talk about killer dolls and killer doll movies without talking about Full Moon Pictures.
Oh,
yeah.
Because Charles Band and Full Moon have taken the idea of the killer doll movie and they've built multiple successful franchises around the concept. Yeah. Well, actually, before we get to those, I want to say a great movie from Full Moon at the time, or maybe it was Empire Pictures then, was 1986's film Dolls.
Stuart Gordon.
Directed by Stuart Gordon, right after he actually did Reanimator and before he did From Beyond, I believe. And Dolls is great. Dolls is this kindly old couple who are in this house, and various characters, bad characters, come into their place for various reasons. And basically it's like they're offed by these living dolls. It's kind of like this old couple are testing the goodness in these people,
and it's Guy Rolfe.
Yeah, right.
The great Guy Rolfe. He's the puppet master, and it's terrific.
And it's great. It's got this little like jester doll called Mr. Punch.
Yeah,
and it's got these toy soldiers and despicable characters getting offed by dolls in this big house. It's the whole movie, and it's great. It's gory and weird and creepy.
Better than it sounds.
And that was 86. So that was their first foray into that kind of genre. And then 1989, they put out the first Puppet Master film. This introduced a whole line of great, memorable monster puppet characters that, Matt, I think you have almost all of these figures actually as toys.
The ones that were put out by Full Moon Toys. Yeah, I think I have the whole series.
I mean, there's Blade, Jester, Pinhead, Tunneler, Leash Woman, and they're great. And there's kind of like the original movie, I think, involved like an Egyptian curse, and these things were kind of used, to get revenge on people.
Later, they become a little bit more heroic.
Yeah, they're kind of like the enemies in the first film. They become like anti-heroes.
And in the third movie,
that Puppet Master 3, Toulon's Revenge.
Yeah, which was directed by David DeCoteau.
Been on our show, and also written by Charles Band, and also friend of the show, C. Courtney Joyner.
That's right.
Which I think is my favorite.
I know, that is one of the best ones.
Yeah, and then so you've got the Puppet Master dolls against the Nazis.
Yeah, it's great.
And I just want to say, if you're new to Monster Party, you got to listen to our episode that we did with David DeCoteau, because he goes into detail about making that, how he didn't know about, like when C. Courtney Joyner brought up various World War II films, and David had no idea what he was talking about, and that they shot on the Universal lot, where they shot Frankenstein and stuff. So David had some great stories to tell. So you got to check out that episode to get more detail about that.
Yeah. And it became a huge franchise.
Yeah.
I just want to read some of the title. We got Puppet Master, Puppet Master 2, Puppet Master 3, Toulon's Revenge, Puppet Master 4, 5, Curse of the Puppet Master, Retro Puppet Master, Puppet Master The Legacy, Puppet Master Axis of Evil, and so on and so on. And they're all fun. But then Full Moon also put out Demonic Toys in 1992, which introduced Baby Oopsie, which is this like kind of a foul-mouthed little baby. Jack Attack, this like evil clown Jack in the Box.
I have one of those.
Yeah, Grizzly Teddy Bear. Mr. Static was this like little robot that electrocuted people.
Then there was a movie. Was this part of the Demonic Toys? It was called Blood Dolls.
That I think was a separate one.
A separate one, because Blood Dolls had like a pimp doll.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
which I have.
Yeah, really. And then they started doing.
And it's great.
And they combined the universes. They had Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys, Doll Man versus Demonic Toys.
Why not?
Yeah, and they're great. So it's like a whole huge franchise of these crazy killer puppet films.
And if I could recommend, in 2018, they did a reboot film for Puppet Master called The Littlest Reich. And
is it
Barbara
good?
Crampton is in it. And
Wow, really?
way.
It is a lot of fun. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, so those are definitely. I mean, and the first Puppet Master, started it all. And like I said, the characters.
I love them all. I really do.
The puppets became breakout characters themselves.
Yeah. And the toys that I have, every one, especially the full moon ones. I know that they're putting out some. I think NECA is going to put out some, but the ones that Full Moon put out were great because they weren't just molded plastic. They also had clothes.
Yeah.
And they all did something. Like the Jester one, you could switch his head around.
Yeah, I love that.
Like his head moves around in the movie, and different versions of Blade. Like there was one that the eyes lit up red. And so each one of them had a gimmick.
Yeah.
And I love that stuff.
But I think Blade especially is just one of the best designs.
Yeah, most iconic.
Yeah, because it's kind of like a skull, but not quite. It's like a stylized skull, but it's super memorable and it's great.
A skull that's dressed like, I guess, a Gestapo agent.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. It's
super
awesome.
creepy, and I love it. I love that whole series. I love all those dolls.
Yeah, it's great.
Guys, one thing we haven't really talked about is evil teddy bears. So if you'll bear with me for a second. Years before Archie got involved with zombies in Riverdale, there was a comic series called Life with Archie where he got into some really dramatic, precarious situations. And there was this one comic from 1972 called Nightmare Nursery, where Archie and the gang encountered a haunted teddy bear, which anybody who touched it or picked it up, it would drive them to suicide. So
what?
No.
Archie?
Betty, yes, in 1972, I was 7. Betty picked this teddy bear up, and it wanted to walk her over the edge of a cliff.
Wow. That's awesome.
That absolutely horrified me. It was serious horror shit. And when they thought that they got rid of the bear at the very end, spoiler, the bear shows up covered with seaweed on Betty's bed. It's like, whoa!
That's terrific. Where's that movie?
Fantastic. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I don't know where you would find this thing now, unless you go to like a comic convention. But Life with Archie had a lot of, some dark stuff. Also, I would bring up Ted. The movie
Ted, yes, right,
sure.
Because in the very first scene, I mean, although it's a comedy, in the very first scene where this kid dreams that his teddy bear would come to life, the thing actually does come to life, and the kid's parents are absolutely horrified. And that's exactly what would really happen in real life.
Right.
You see something like that happen, it's like, holy shit, whoa. So
my favorite character in AI was the teddy bear.
Oh,
yeah, right.
I remember the Steven Spielberg film.
Yeah.
I thought Spielberg, a talking teddy bear, there's going to be magic here. Didn't happen.
No.
Disappointed. But then finally I would bring up a trailer for a movie that hasn't come out yet, but Blumhouse is releasing it on March 8th. It's called Imaginary. And there's apparently a teddy bear called Chauncey the Bear, which a little girl has a relationship with, and the bear is actually possessed and wreaks havoc. So that movie's going to be coming out soon. So for whatever it's worth, we'll see what happens.
Nice.
I'm in. I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah.
Hey, if we're going to talk about evil dolls, we have to talk about the comic that I wrote.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
I wrote a comic story for Dark Horse's Creepy, which is based on the original Creepy line that was put out by Warren Publishing.
Right.
And I wrote a story for their Lovecraft issue. And it's about these toys that the guy who's out of ideas for toy designs comes upon a book that's like the Necronomicon. And there's all these, illustrations in it. And he copies the designs from these illustrations and makes them into action figures. But by doing that, he brings to life these entities. And now they are infused in every one of the toys. And it destroys this guy's life. The whole toy factory ends up getting burnt down, and the whole line, most of it gets destroyed in flames, but a few sets survive. And so one of these sets shows up at this comic book store, and the original guy who's created these toys, he's trying to get them all back, and he's doing whatever he can to stop the person that ends up buying them from opening them. Because if you open them, shit's going to go down. And there's a twist ending. So this is creepy number 10. The story is called Mint in Package. And the artwork is by the great Derek Robertson of Transmetropolitan and The Boys. So you should check this out. I was very happy with how it came out.
That's great. I have it.
Great, yeah.
Well, this has been great.
It has been, yes.
It has.
We could go on and on.
Yes. And,
talking about our
we
spooky,
could, though.
creepy dolls. Yes,
We really could.
Yeah.
But what I love is we've talked about some classic things, also some newer things that people can check out. But
Yes.
what do you guys say we do a lightning round? Why don't we just throw a couple out
Just
there?
throw some
Lightning
out there.
round.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
look, let me just throw this out. I know
Go.
Matt's not going to like it, but
Oh,
it is a
no.
creepy doll. You can see it from the very beginning. You know something's going to happen. From 1982 in Poltergeist, there's
Of
like this
course.
clown doll, and of course,
Horrifying.
and just the face alone, you
Oh,
know,
so
at the very
scary.
beginning. Well, see, for you, it wasn't scary, but I
Yes,
knew that.
if you're 8, yes.
No, well, I still thought something was going to happen, which it does
Which
when you
it
get
does. Hey,
towards the
whoa.
end. But it turns into an evil clown toy that pulls the little kid under the bed.
Yeah,
So
you know what? It's the new me. It's the new Leaf. People love it. Enjoy.
and
The people have spoken.
look, I know how you feel about Poltergeist, but I don't know how you feel about this. It's a toy type animatronic character in the film Deep Red from 1975.
That's on my
There's-
list.
Oh, is
I
it, Sean?
love that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and it's kind of hard to explain this
Yes, it's
mechanical
Very weird.
character, and it's very brief, but it is one of the most frightening, creepy things that
Oh my
freaked
God.
me out when I saw it.
It's like a
Sean?
life-size mechanical marionette.
Yeah,
And it has this laugh, and it's kind of like basically it's used by the killer to distract a victim.
To distract- yes.
It makes kind of no sense where the killer got this thing. I don't
No.
know, but it's
No.
great. It's super creepy.
but along those lines, and this is the last thing I'll say, this is kind of a life-size animatronic doll. Just bear with me. There's something called Laughing Sal. Are you guys familiar with this?
Oh, sure.
Okay,
What?
see, I figured Matt. Okay, so here's
Playland.
yes. So in San Francisco, folks, back in the 20s, there was this amusement park made on the west side
Oh,
of San Francisco in the
yes.
Sunset District, right by the beach. Now it's long gone. It was torn down, burned down in the 70s. But there was a giant figure called Laughing Sal. It was this giant woman, and it was a very simple mechanism which would move her body backwards and forwards, but there was a spring that would kind of make it jiggle. And then there were these motors that made her arms move, and it made her come to life. But the freakiest thing, it's like she had a big smile on her face and a kind of a drabby dress, and she had and freckles. But the thing that made it kind of freaky was there was a record playing a woman's laugh, and it was just go on and on.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is the mechanics inside, it basically was a record, but it was several records that were stacked. When one record finished, another one would drop and would play. So we would play for like 6 hours or something before you had to replace the records.
Right.
And kids freaked out about this. And I guess rumor has it that the laugh that they got was actually a recording of a real woman from an insane asylum who would constantly laugh.
What?
Oh, wow.
That's
I didn't know
the
that.
story.
Oh my
That's the
gosh.
story. But when you listen
Fabulous.
to the laugh, it's kind of freaky. But
It
the
is
funny
scary.
Wow.
now the thing about this was built by a company in the Midwest. It was brought. They made about 200 of these. The one that Matt and I saw when we were kids at Playland, it was purchased and it's refurbished, and it's now at the Santa Cruz Beach and Boardwalk in Santa Cruz in their arcade, Neptune's Kingdom. And they've kind of refurbished it so it's still functioning.
Wow.
There's another one at the Mechanical Museum in San Francisco by Fisherman's Wharf. You put a coin in and you see her move and laugh. And the weird thing is that laugh is so kind of creepy. And it sounds insane. And as the mechanical thing moves, it is a frightening doll,
That's
life
cool.
size.
She was in front of the Funhouse
Yeah.
at Playland. And so
Yeah.
I
Wow,
had
yeah.
so many, when I was growing up, I had a couple birthday parties that were at the fun house.
Nice.
And that was like, oh, you knew that your day was going to be great because that was the first thing that greeted you as you walked up to the fun house. Laughing Sal. I have a t-shirt with Laughing Sal.
And you know, I will say this for people who are not familiar with that fun house that Matt's talking about, there's stuff in there that was not safe.
Fucking dangerous.
It's so dangerous. I look at it today. I think back and I go, oh my God, I can't believe there weren't lawsuits. But there were things where your hand could go in a tube and get crushed by something. Like, oh, it's funny.
There was a plate. There was a spinning plate.
Yeah.
And it was this big, like, wooden plate thing. And you'd get on it, and this plate would spin, and it would spin gradually faster and faster till the force would fling kids off of it.
What?
Hitting the walls.
Hitting the
like
wall.
It's the danger room for the X-Men.
Oh,
there was no real padding. And also there was a barrel. Remember, there's a giant barrel that would go.
The spinning barrel, right.
If you're a little kid not qualified, not coordinated enough, you fell and you start to roll. Hey man, it's tough shit.
Tough shit, man. That's life.
This is how you learn.
Wow.
That's great. I love that.
So there's a few for me.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Sean?
Okay, well, a couple. I know Matt loves this one. The anthology film from Amicus from 1972, Asylum, features this one segment where basically it's Robert Powell sent to this asylum, and he's challenged with guessing which of these inmates is the
guy who runs it, right?
He was told that he's told that the guy who ran the asylum went crazy himself, and he's now one of the inmates. He has to figure out which one it is, so he interviews each of the people, and those become the segments of this anthology as they tell their stories. And one of them is Herbert Lom, who he says he's this doctor, and he's created this new form of life. Kind of, he makes these little mechanical dolls. It's just like a crude little robot body with like a little life head of himself. And organs inside. And inside is like miniature versions of actual organs. And of course, he says he can bring these things to life by using his mind. And Robert Powell doesn't believe him, but of course it does happen. And it kills the head of the asylum, which Patrick McGee, I think, is the guy he goes after. And it's so creepy because it's like little Herbert Lom doll walking around. And it's like a real wind up.
It's battery. It's a battery operator because I have that robot that they use.
Why doesn't somebody make that actual toy?
Right.
Herbert Lom's head.
Sean, it's so funny you should say that because I have the robot in my case. They pull the head off and they take out the chest to do the thing.
Yeah.
And I would never do it because it's a few bucks.
Now,
But that robot.
It's really memorable.
So
segment.
creepy.
It's so good. It's so good. There's a great film from 1995, Tales from the Hood. Have you guys ever seen this horror anthology film?
Yeah.
And one of the best segments is Corbin Burnson is this like racist KKK member who's running for senator.
Yes.
And he sets up his office in an old slave plantation, and supposedly it's haunted by the souls of murdered slaves who lived there. And there's this painting on the wall that is shown like this witch who supposedly transferred all the souls of the murdered slaves into these dolls, and the dolls are depicted in the painting. But what happens is he keeps going by the painting, and the dolls in the painting start disappearing from the painting. There's like a white spot where the painting of the doll was. So the dolls are coming to life from the painting. They go after him and terrorize him, and it's great.
Great, yeah.
Nice.
So there's a mic.
Fantastic.
Nice, James.
There's a movie that was made for Amazon out of Italy last year, a Christmas movie called Elf Me, where this Italian toy manufacturer wants to compete with Santa Claus. So he manufactures these little dolls called Buddy. I guess sort of like Child's Play, but they're these little kind of like gremlin dolls. And then he manufactures thousands of them. And then toward the end of the movie, they all come to life and they're like carnivorous. So you have this, it's very Gremlins-esque. And it's not a bad little movie, and it's kind of unique to see an Italian Christmas movie.
Yeah.
The Elf Me from 2023 for Amazon.
Nice.
And also Bret Easton Ellis, the author of American Psycho, had done a quasi-autobiographical novel I mentioned on the show before. It's called Lunar Park from 2005, where the protagonist, who's kind of based on himself and is named after himself, gets into this real paranoid delusional state, and a lot of it is drug induced. And his child has a Furby doll, but it's not called a Furby, it's called a Turby. And the Turby does some extremely disturbing things, including like eating the family like pet or eating wild animals or
Oh,
something.
wow.
It's very hallucinogenic and it's extremely disturbing. Speaking of Turbies. And then finally, a real life haunted doll, supposedly in Japan, way back in 1918. There was a little girl who was like 2 years old, and her older brother gave her a doll. And a year or two later, the little girl died of the flu. And the family was going to bury the doll with her. And this is actually true. But they didn't bury the doll with her. And instead, they kept the doll, but the doll's hair continued to grow.
What?
And the doll's name was Okiku. And because of that phenomenon, it sort of became a local. This was on Hokkaido, on the northern part of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that phenomenon, they actually kept that doll in a shrine called Manenji Temple in Hokkaido. It's called the Okiku doll. It's still in that temple. And the legend has it that the hair continues to grow. Although, if you're somewhat skeptical about this,
Which I am.
the pictures of the doll with different hair lengths, it's like, well, yes, but the monks could have cut the hair at some point and grown the hair at some point artificially, but it is still
Maybe
a
it's
thing.
mold.
Yeah.
It is so, but it's still there in that shrine. So
Wow.
Interesting, though. Interesting story, though.
I'm surprised nobody's bothered to make a movie about it, but there have been, online blogs about it. There have been podcasts about it. And it is a thing. So the Okiku doll, with the hair that continues to grow from that little girl who passed away.
Sounds like it could be like a creepy pasta type story or something.
Yeah.
Urban, like
Hey, along
interesting.
those lines, wasn't there a doll that was like I know that they made a movie about it, and there's this creepy doll that somebody got, and it's dressed in like, I think it's like a little sailor outfit, and it had a creepy influence on a bunch of people, and they ended up, it's in some museum now, and like people have to make sure that they don't say anything bad about the doll because a curse will happen to them or whatever.
Wow, sounds like an Annabelle
remember
thing.
it's like a creepypasta type thing, but the doll is a real thing. But I know that they made a movie of it, and I can't think of it.
Interesting.
Well, you knew with Creepy Dolls episode, we couldn't get away from it without mentioning Japan at least once, right?
Sure.
Yes,
No, that's
exactly.
right. We got to go.
Yeah.
We gotta go visit that doll.
Yes. Time. Matt?
What do you got?
Well, I'm sure that somebody will be mad at me if I don't bring up Goosebumps, Slappy the Dummy.
Oh, yeah.
Almost like their mascot. I have not read any Goosebumps. I think I watched a couple episodes of the TV show. And, if you're a little kid, you want some light horror, that's fine. You can watch Slappy the Dummy and put on Poltergeist, and that's an afternoon right there. I think we should also talk about ritual dolls. Voodoo dolls, for example.
Sure.
There are countless movies, really. Thinner, a favorite of yours, James.
Yeah.
Involves a voodoo doll, and there's The Witches of Eastwick. But there's one that really sticks out for me, and it's not what you would think it would be, because it's a movie called The House That Dripped Blood, an Amicus anthology movie.
Love it.
And there's a story called Sweets to the Sweet. And all these stories in this movie were all written by Robert Bloch. So this story was originally in Weird Tales. It involves Christopher Lee, and he's got this daughter, and it's kind of like The Innocents, where they bring in somebody to tutor the little daughter who has problems. And let's just say that she knows a little bit more about the occult than she's letting on. And so she has a doll that she makes that has special powers. That's a great one. So you need to check that one out. And this is one that I know Sean loves. And this is a favorite sleeper of a movie that I think now has recently gotten a bit more accolades. And it's the movie called Pin, A Plastic Nightmare.
It's on my list, too.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I don't know this one.
This is great. It's 1988 Canadian. It stars Terry O'Quinn, and Terry O'Quinn is this Dr. Frank Linden. And he has this life-size anatomically correct medical dummy that you could like see under the skin and you can see muscles and everything. And he calls this thing Pin, and he uses, kind of crude ventriloquism to make the thing talk to his kids. And it's his way of like teaching the kids about the human body in a way.
Sex education.
And that in a way that's like friendly and then they can handle and is not too creepy. But of course that's creepy, right? Because he's using this creepy doll. And what happens is that the son, Leon, gets this weird fixation with Pin and starts to see Pin as a real person.
Right.
And so Pin talks to him, and it's almost like he becomes the most important member of the family, to the point where the daughter, Ursula, when she starts to date, it's like it's driving a wedge between their relationship with Pin.
Because the son's like sheltered and he doesn't have any friends, and
of course, things get worse and worse and worse, but it's a slow build. It's very much an atmospheric work. I would say that it is an obscure movie. Not too many people know about it. I would say if you're a horror fan, most people know about it now. But so there's that one. And then I would also like to just throw in, this is just a little weird one. It's one that I watched almost every other weekend because it always seemed to be on when I was watching Creature Features or something else. And it's Attack of the Puppet People.
Of course,
Well,
Bird-Eye Gordon,
right?
And John Hoyt is this guy who makes dolls, but he also manages to come up with a way to shrink people. And so he does this. He gets these people and he shrinks them down, and he's like creating this little community of these shrunken people. But he has a way to make them so they just look like dolls when other people are around.
Right.
It's kind of a silly movie, but I love John Hoyt and everything.
He's great.
And I think he does play a very good on the edge of insanity. I guess he is insane, but
he's kind of a kindly old inventor. Like
and there's a vulnerable quality about him. Kind of really what he wants here is he wants friends. He wants a family. He wants these group of people to be with him, and he's doing his best to make their lives as pleasant as possible, and he gives them clothes, and he's going to have a party for them.
Parties for them.
Bubble bath.
But they don't, of course, they don't want anything to do with this. And John Agar takes charge, and he's doing everything he can to somehow get out of this situation. But that's a fun one, and it was a double feature with War of the Colossal Beast. So maybe get that movie and watch them together, just like you're in the theater in the 50s.
Attack of the Puppet People should have been co-billed with Attack of the Mushroom People. So
there you go.
Hey, and I just thought of one more, and this is one that I'm surprised we haven't brought it up, which is Planet of the Apes.
Oh my gosh.
The doll.
Oh my God. Classic.
Because that's a creepy doll, because that doll in and of itself represents the end of mankind.
It also shatters the whole
belief
facade
system of the apes.
But isn't it nice, Matt, to think that the only thing left of mankind is a toy?
That's right.
See, now you've given my collection new hope.
Maybe
I'll be
someday in the future. We'll find
Dr.
Larry's
Zayas
collection.
is going to be going through some old garage, and like, what is it? It says from the Larry Strothe collection.
What is this reptile creature? What is this thing?
Beware the opening of the package.
You may not like
it's
what you
against ape
find.
law. Ape, you will not open another ape's toy.
Beware the beast man, for he will devalue all your toys.
See, what a perfect way to go out.
That's great, man.
End of the world.
This has been fun. This has been so awesome.
Yeah.
We actually covered a lot.
So do you guys have anything you want to plug?
Monster party.
I'm
That's
going to
what
be
we
having
plug.
dinner later, so
Ooh.
stay tuned for that.
Nice.
I think I'll do a plug on the next one.
So why don't we raise our glasses and have a toast to Deadly Dolls?
Yes.
Deadly Dolls.
Laughing Sal, you're kind of hot.
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out.
And this is a somewhat somber shout out because
Yes.
we've actually lost a really very important voice in the Monster Kid universe.
Yeah.
Just recently, David J. Scal, who was we were really fortunate to be able to have on as a guest.
Yes.
Passed away on January 1st, just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's tragic when someone who gave so much to the stuff that we love so much. I mean, David he's a historian, he was a critic, a writer, he was an on-camera commentator.
Mm-hmm.
He did so much research and analysis of horror films. I remember seeing him he was on Turner Classic Movies when he was talking about Fright Favorites. And I did get his book and I had him sign it. And it was such a joy to have him on our show. And
he's kind of like the voice of authority. You know, I mean, whenever I would see him in one of the extras for example, the Universal sets that they put out. He had so many these little documentaries and
just
commentary,
essential featurettes.
Yeah, when he came on, you really felt like you were in good hands. This is the guy who knew his stuff, and he was engaging, and he didn't make any of the stuff feel dry in any way.
Right,
just really a talent.
His book output was very, very thorough. The Monster Show, Hollywood Gothic, all about Bela Lugosi and Dracula. He did books about Todd Browning. I mean, he just prolific, totally prolific, and all about the stuff that we value so much.
Yeah.
And I prize the books of his that I have.
Yeah. Yeah. He would definitely be missed. He was essential and a voice for all us monster kids.
We had such a great time with him. We were planning to have him back. The truth of the matter is none of us knows how long we're here.
That's
so
true.
You want to try to cherish the people that you have around you that share the same love and interest that you have. And David was one of those guys, and I feel really honored to have had him on the show. And I do feel that he was taken from us way too soon.
Yes. And when he was on, I mean, it was almost surreal to me because this is a guy who was like my muse, my Jiminy Cricket there of genre. And he was so important to me in the things that I watched and read over the years. And to have him gone, it doesn't even feel real.
Yeah.
No, when we had his voice on our show, we were that fortunate. I mean, I felt like half the time I was listening to one of those commentaries or one of
those Universal DVDs
extras. Yeah.
But I will say this, he left behind an awful lot of wonderful work because what he did is he's trying to do what we're trying to do too, is trying to keep some of this stuff alive and try to put a new face on it, have people revisit some of these things that had come out years ago.
Or younger generations discover it.
Exactly, because if you're not aware of David J. Scal, I would say pick up any of those Universal sets and just go through them because you'll be in love with them from that point on.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, hopefully on a more positive note, let's talk a little bit about our eBay merch.
We have to.
The Monster Party products are available on our eBay store, which is called Monster Party Store. We've got the Monster Party t-shirt. We've got the Monster Party shot glasses. We've got the legendary Monster Party cap.
It is legendary now, yes.
Now it is. Yeah. And we've got
it wasn't last week, but now things have changed.
Yeah, it's a brand new year. And we've got the PPE cloth masks.
Oh, yeah.
Which, in some places in the country, I'm sad to say, COVID is still kind of a thing right now. So
yeah, it's weird to go hey, we got masks. COVID's back. Oh yeah, COVID's back.
It's a useful tool. It's useful.
Yes, it is. It is. It will do nothing but help you.
It's utilitarian. And, if you happen to have a scary doll at home, and you maybe want to hide part of that face, it's good for that too, I guess.
That's a brilliant idea.
You can find these things, and they're available on our Monster Party store on eBay, which is called, you guessed it, Monster Party Store. And if you happen to also be a Patreon member and you buy Monster Party merch, we will throw in free surprise goodies, courtesy of our friends, Jason Lindsay at Biff Bang Pow Toys, and Ted Haynes, creature creator extraordinaire.
Yes.
Yeah, they are living dolls.
Yeah, they are. They are indeed.
You know, Matt, I'm trying to piece together all the Child's Play episodes that Brad Dourif actually voiced Chucky, and I'm just like, I'm completely confused right now, and my brain is muddled. So, what is this Patreon? I do not remember what this Patreon is all about. Can you refresh my memory?
Well, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
You see, you're welcome, James. Well, much like how the soul of Charles Lee Ray possesses the body of a good guy doll, Patreon will possess your happy place by providing it with a treasure trove of bonus Monster Party content. Now, we're talking our bonus audio episodes, our shows like Monster Party Masterpieces and Larry's Toy Time and James's Toy Time and Sean's Toy Time and my Toy Time is coming.
Oh, yeah.
Any day now. Yes. But we've got even more. We've got our video diary of Japan. We have our convention exclusives and all the events that we go to where we're, shooting footage to share with you people. Yes, we have that kind of thing. We also have our story collections put together by my stepfather-in-law, John Bordeaux, which include vintage, sci-fi, and horror. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, it's a treasure trove.
Yes.
Well, it sounds fantastic, but I gotta say, I'm suddenly aware of all these figures from Puppet Master that I need to buy right now. So I don't know if I can afford this luxury.
Well, for the price you would pay for a boxless Madame Alexander Larry STROTHE doll, you could become a Monster Party patron, and that price is $5.
No.
Wow. That's pretty good. You can't get a used anatomically correct Archie Bunker's grandson doll for that price.
You can get just the penis.
Wow. That's true actually. So where can one sign up for such a grand experience?
Right. Okay. Well, all you got to do is you go to patreon.com, you go to Monster Party, you click on the join button, you follow the instructions, and next thing you know, it'll be like Guy Rolfe is controlling you and making you happy.
Well, speaking of making you happy, we are on social media. We are on Facebook and Monster Party TV, YouTube and Monster Party TV, Twitter. Our handle is Monster Party HQ, which is also our Instagram handle, Monster Party HQ. And hey, you know what? We really love more Monster Party reviews from our listeners, especially on iTunes. It's been a while since we've had a review on iTunes. So hey, please, let's open the floodgates. Please write us a review on iTunes if you can. We'd love to see that. We'd love to hear from you, hear your thoughts, and we will read it on the air.
And we won't just read your review. We will read it to the Zuni Fetish Doll to get it to calm the fuck down.
Those reviews can charm the chain right off of one of those dolls.
See, when I use that line with the ladies, it never works. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
And watch deadly doll movies.
And remember, abracadabra, we get on the mic.
Presto changeo, it's something you like.
Hocus pocus, you loved what we said.
Monster Party's fun. You're dead.
Ugh, creepy. So
tonight's show, Rosie O'Donnell.
Okay, here I am.
Friend or foe?
I am at the airport. I forget which airport. And this is around the time when she was hosting the VH1 comedy show. I forget what it was called. Anyway, so I'm on the phone. I'm at a phone booth, and Rosie O'Donnell walks by and stops, turns to me and yells at me and goes, Are you Matt Weinhold? I wanted to put you on my show, but I hate your manager, so you're not going to be on my show. And then took off.
Wow.
Why not just keep that to yourself?
Yeah.
And two, why not say, hey, I think you're so good that, in spite of how much I dislike your manager, you're going to be on my show. See, that's a good person.
Or I would still love to have you on my show.
I would still love to have you on a show and call me anyway.
She was
Just
nicknamed,
something.
remember, she used to be the Queen of Nice. Remember that? And then
that was her. I thought that was Ellen.
No, this is before.
She was
Ellen.
the first Queen of Nice.
She was the first. Guys, her show was huge. And then she did the Tom Selleck thing, and then things started to come out, and she started to have that rough period. Ellen comes in. And of course, everyone loves Ellen. Who doesn't love Ellen?
I'll make you a list.
Not anymore.
Finding Nemo. No.
Rosie O'Donnell today, though, what is she? I mean, is she doing anything?
She's not, as far as I know, Sean, she's not doing anything like in
nothing big.
But she has enough money where she's fine.
She's fine.
She
has a following.
Ellen is the same thing because Ellen had something that Rosie O'Donnell never had, and that was not only did she have that empire of television, but she had the makeup. It was Maybelline or something, and
she had all kinds of like products and stuff.
Wow.
And we're talking like tons of money.
Yeah.
She's fine too.
She doesn't have to do anything ever again.
No, and hopefully she won't.
Never again.
Because I don't want her anymore in the media or anywhere.
No,
it's weird.
Although I worked with her way back when in Vegas, and couldn't have been nicer. And this is before the big fame, but she was great. And she had her girlfriend with her, and they both liked me. And then we were having it was like right after the LA riots, and we were all feeling bad about the world, and like
the good old days with the riots and stuff. Remember when things are nice and
when
simple.
Things were calm.
Success went to her head.
Fame changes people, man.
Get this though. Get this. I'm at Catch a Rising Star, and I'm the opener. And there's a middle act, and she's the headliner. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's Ellen. Keep in mind Ellen's type of act.
Right.
Yes.
Monologist.
No, but it's
wholesome.
Funny.
I think she's a great comedian.
Yeah.
I have it's nothing to do with her comedy. I thought she was solid as could be. But anyway, so it's me. And then the middle act, get this, is a guy named Stevie Starr, the Regurgitator.
Oh, I think you told me this.
I don't know. The Regurgitator?
The Regurgitator. And this guy was on the scene for a while, and he did this act where he would swallow things and barf them up.
No.
Yes. And but it wasn't like barf guy.
Oh my!
He worked for a while, and he was. I'm trying to remember. He was like South African or Australian or something like that. But he would do this thing like he'd do sugar, a whole bunch of sugar, and then he'd go, and then the sugar would come out, and whoa, and then he'd do a goldfish, and he'd swallow the goldfish, and the goldfish would come out, it'll still alive and everything.
Oh, that's good.
And that was the middle act before Ellen, and maybe that's why we also got along, because we both were shocked that this guy was before her.
Right.
But can you believe that? Like, who puts that show together?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's what's the guy with the watermelon smashing the watermelons?
Gallagher, right? Yeah, that would
it's like a low rent Gallagher. Yeah,
sure, that would have been better, or a juggler of any kind, or a hypnotist, or whatever. But that was amazing.
Fun. Juggler might have been fun.
Juggling like axes or chainsaws.
Torches.
I worked with a guy named Chris Bliss, and Chris Bliss great name, did like regular monologist type jokes, and then out of nowhere, his last bit is a juggling bit, and it's and I'm blanking on the name of the Beatles song. But it's the one that goes, then in the end, the love you give is
equal to
whatever that.
It's called The End.
The End. Okay, there you go. So that's the music playing, and he does this whole juggling thing, and it's good. But it was so weird because it's just like
random,
kind of like just regular, intelligent
Right.
jokes, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, we're gonna do some juggling. It's like
So
all of a
one-
sudden, just like out of nowhere, here comes a ventriloquist doll.
Right.
So
Which
one,
Ooh. Speaking of which,
one throws and the other throws up.
Exactly.
Nice. Did you guys watch the True Detectives? The first
one.
I never watched it, and I know I just
pretty-
never watched any of those.
It's pretty dull.
The newest one with Jodie Foster.
Yeah, I really wanted to like it, but it's dull, and they really think their characters are way more interesting than they are. Something that is done also in Monarch, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, that was a whole fucking disappointment.
Yeah, I got to the 4th episode of that, and that was
it goes nowhere. It goes nowhere. Don't even bother. It goes nowhere.
Okay.
That's a
But anyway,
shame.
so in True Detectives, it's kind of like The Thing, where they go to this research station in Alaska, and all these people are dead and they don't know what's going on. And so the cops are going through the research station and they're checking out everything, and stuck on a loop, they can't get it to stop, is Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh,
And it's playing on a loop when he's lip syncing that stupid fucking Beatles thing.
Oh, it's one of my favorite scenes.
Horror. What
I love
a
it.
horror! Like, that is my idea of hell. Is it being just having to
Isn't
watch
that
movie.
interesting? Your hell would be my heaven. To be
It's like a Night
surrounded
Gallery
by-
episode.
It is.
One of my favorites,
totally.
actually. I'm getting softer in my old age, and where I would argue with you now, Larry, I simply think that it's like, look, some stuff works for
Like,
you,
not
some
for you,
stuff doesn't.
yeah.
It's just not for me.
yin and yang.
People love that movie. I don't know why. They love Poltergeist. I don't know why, but it's okay. Love the thing you love. How do you like that? What is wrong with me?
Yeah.
The new year.
Who are you?
What has happened?
A new leaf.
A new leaf. Maybe we should do Killer Plants.
I'm not ready for killer plans.
That's all right. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm
And I'm James Gonis.
It
We'll take it from the
happens.
top. Take it from the
Take it
top.
from the top. Here we go.
All right.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
Can we do, Larry? Can you just do, when you go, it's breaking for some reason.
It's weird, yes.
So just give it a little bit of a
softer start.
teeny bit softer.
I will make it softer.
Not that soft.
Don't not that soft. Don't go don't go FM DJ.
Okay.
Hey, it's
I'm-
Larry Stroth. It's 3 a.m.
How's this?
And
how
here's
about
a
if I
little
do this?
Steely Dan.
I'm Larry Stroth. Is that okay? Still?
No, that's
I'm-
creepy. Don't just don't
I'm Larry Stroth.
Not the volume. It's just the volume.
don't make it lower.
How about this? I'm Larry Stroth.
There you go.
That's good, yeah.
I just
That's it.
moved my mic.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
That's it. That's great. Perfect.